Icelocked here with Nocturne Gaming, back with more Legends of Idleon, and today we're taking a look at the new World 5 boss, Kattlekruk. The boss entrance for Kattlekruk is located in the World 5 map, Minor Mole Outskirts, and there's a few requirements to fight this boss. The first requirement is to gain Kruk's volcano keys, and one key is needed for each attempt on the boss. There are two main ways to gain these keys. The first is by completing quests from the Sleepy Mole here. The first quest requires you to kill 6 million big ol' moles and awards you with 10 Kruk's volcano keys. The second quest requires you to kill 10 million crawlers, which is the next map down, and this will reward you with 25 Kruk's volcano keys. These quests do line up with the actual portal requirements, so as you kill the 6 million big ol' moles, you will be able to move on to the next map. And there's a few benefits which we'll go over in just a minute, but I do feel like I should mention the third quest. This quest is only available when you can complete Nightmare, as it requires you to equip the Divine Scarf and to get the Kattlekruk's Cape, which only drops from Nightmare. You also have to complete several achievements, which to unlock the ability to craft the Divine Scarf. So for now, that's not important, but it does give the reward of the trophy. So it is worth completing when you can. The second method of obtaining keys is actually from fighting 3 different monsters. So taking a look at our cards here, we can look at Big Ol' Mole, and Big Ol' Mole has a 1 in 75,000 drop chance for a key. These keys, this drop chance does count for offline kills, so if you have a very high multi-kill and can get several 100,000 kills offline, this will benefit from you and you can get several keys. The next mob is the crawlers, and this gives you a 1 in 50,000 drop rate, and you'll notice more keys per hour by going up to the crawlers as long as you have enough damage. And lastly, your tremor worms also have a very good chance of dropping these keys. It's 1 in 25,000, and I have personally noticed that I get more kills per hour with the same damage on tremor worms, but that also depends on where you're at in the damage. So if you can farm tremor worms effectively, this is going to be your biggest source of keys for Kruk's volcano. The second requirement is having enough accuracy, and this is a minor requirement because if you have enough damage, this is avoidable and you only need 900 accuracy. However, depending on where your damage is at, you may have to fight big ol' moles during the boss fight. This requires you to have at least, or to have 54,000 accuracy for a 100% hit chance. And honestly, I'd say that you need to have this accuracy, otherwise this boss is going to be painful, if not impossible for you. Granted, in World 5, this should be one of your lesser concerns, but it is something to keep in mind. The third requirement is going to be having enough damage to complete this boss. This boss has 100 billion HP, and it also has a healing mechanic. So one of the breakpoints that I would suggest for being able to fight this boss successfully is being able to 1 or 2 shot big ol' moles themselves. These do have a decent amount of HP, but it's necessary because in the boss fight, big ol' moles will spawn, and every time a big ol' mole reaches the boss, it does heal the boss. These are fairly slow at first, but we'll take a look at the boss fight now so you can see how it goes. So we're in the boss fight, and a quick shout out to our Nocturne Gaming Guild member that recorded this clip for me. I was not able to get my damage low enough to be able to show this fight properly, so thank you. But we're in the boss fight here. A couple things. First, the boss does have 100 billion HP, and we did a little bit of damage here, and we're going to take a look. As these big ol' moles reach the boss fight, you'll be able to see that they heal the boss for about 1 to 1.5% of its HP. And so your goal is going to be doing enough damage, but also preventing these moles from getting to the boss. If you're unable to prevent the moles to get to it, it becomes a DPS race, and so you can out damage what these moles are capable of healing. But depending on the difficulty you're at and where your damage is at, this may be kind of a struggle. So one of my recommendations, if your damage is not high enough, is having wave clear, like the Divine Knight Slash and statue that hits all mobs around, the elemental sorcerers, meteors, and molten volcanoes, the bubonic conjurers, poison clouds. All of these can really help give you enough damage to these moles around it where you can focus on dealing damage to the boss. This is a struggle for the Maestro, and that's going to be one of the big challenges on the later difficulties of the boss. But that's the Kattlekruk boss fight for you, and we're going to take a look at the rewards now. So there are 5 main rewards from Kattlekruk normal mode, as well as the rare drop tables that give you the basic loot like statues and coins and things like that. But for the 5 main rewards, the first is the Kattlekruk card itself, which gives you passive sailing speed. So I highly recommend that you level this up as much as you can as soon as possible. The next reward is the Kruk Tooth, and this is a pretty regular drop, and it's needed to craft the new boss gear, weapons, and new pendant that's available once you can clear Nightmare mode. Next up is the pendant itself. This is a base drop pendant, and it's the Strung Tooth. We'll take a look at the stats on this now. This is available as a base drop, but it's also used in a recipe for the Divine Scarf. The Strung Tooth itself gives 8 weapon power, 6 to the base stats, 30 defense, 20% total damage, and plus 5% to all stats. This also does have 5 upgrade slots. So it's a very nice pendant, a pretty good upgrade from the Cheese Whores Blankie. Now, back to our other drops on Kattlekruk. Next up is the Molten Obol. This is a best in slot obol for pretty much every character, and the reason is the base obols give you 7 weapon power, 15 to your base stats, 5% AFK gains, and 2% total damage. So with it being all AFK gains, this is best in slot for your AFK fighters, it's best in slot for your sampling, for your skilling AFKers. The only time that this won't be best in slot is if you're actively farming, and the drop rate and multi-kill may outweigh this depending on what you're doing. Now, keep in mind that this can be upgraded using the reroll stats here, and that does give you the potential of rolling it to 6% AFK gains. And depending on your character level, you could have 3 to 4 of these on your family page, as well as a personal one. And at 6%, that's giving you a potential of 30% more AFK gains just for having some obols. It is a decent amount of farming, but it is a good benefit. Back to our other rewards, we do have the new armor upgrade stones from the bosses, and we can take a look at those as well. These have about a 60% chance to apply. One thing to keep in mind is your slots are used even if the upgrade fails. However, every one of these give you plus 1 weapon power to your armor, 13 defense, and 8 to your main stat. This is a significant upgrade from the World 5 vendored armor upgrade stones. However, you are taking the risk of it failing and wasting that upgrade slot. There is a couple more rewards from the boss, and I do want to go over those really quickly. These are based on completing the tasks in World 5, and that is buying the upgrades from the merit shop. There are 9 possible upgrades, and you can buy the first 3 by completing normal mode. Those first 3 will allow you to build 3 new pieces of armor, and that is the new boot, pants, and chest piece. Each of these do require the Kruk Tooth, and they also require the respective pieces of Magma Core gear. Now, I will say that you are giving up having percent to all stats on these pieces of gear, but all in all, they have a higher base stat, they have an additional upgrade slot, and they have new bonuses. This gives you, the boots give you 8% total damage and 15% drop chance, and as well as decent base stats. The pants give you mob respawn and total damage, and then the chest piece also gives you mob respawn and total damage. Personally, using this gear from Magma Core gear, I have noticed that my damage is fairly similar. Some characters lose some damage, some characters gain some damage. It depends on where everything else in your account is at, but you can lose some damage by upgrading to this, so be careful on that. However, you are getting the benefit of additional mob respawn and drop rate for using this set of gear. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button and drop a comment if you're enjoying our content. And a huge shout out to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. If you would like to become a patron, check out the link in the description for more details. And be sure to visit our merch store so you can get some pretty cool stuff. If you have any thoughts or questions, let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.